Narrator: Tonight is not an ordinary bedtime. Tonight, a story is waiting that only children can hear before they grow up. If your eyes are open and your heart is listening, this story is for you. In a small house at the end of a quiet street, a little child named Mira lay wide awake in bed. The stars outside were twinkling like tiny night lights, but Mira was not sleepy at all. Mira pulled the blanket up, then pushed it down again, then kicked it off the bed with a soft thump. Mira whispered, "I do not want to sleep. I want to grow up faster." Grown-ups do not have bedtimes, she thought. They stay awake as long as they like, and nobody says, "Time for bed now." The bedroom clock went tick-tock, tick-tock, like a slow and sleepy drum. Outside, a small wind shushed through the trees, as if the whole world were whispering, "Hush now, little ones." But inside Mira's chest, her heart was wide awake, full of questions and wishes and tiny worries that would not sit still. Mira said softly, "Maybe when I wake up I will be taller, and I will not have to hold Mama's hand when we cross the street. Maybe I will pour my own milk without spilling, and read big books with tiny letters, and go to bed whenever I want." A soft hoot floated through the open window. Hoo-ho, hoo-ho. Mira sat up quickly. "Who is there?" she asked the dark. The moonlight slid across the floor, climbed up the wall, and rested on the windowsill, where a small round owl was blinking its golden eyes. "Owl, I heard someone who does not want to go to sleep," the owl said in a voice as soft as feathers. "I heard someone who wants to grow up too fast." "Mira, I only want to be big," Mira said. "Big people can do everything." "Owl, is that so?" the owl asked, tilting its head. "Can you see in the dark like I can? Can you fly without wings? Can you listen to a story that has not been told yet?" Mira's eyes grew wide. "Mira, a story that has not been told," she whispered. "Owl, every child has one," the owl replied. "A story they need." Her fingers brushed the cold stone, and a shiver ran through her arm. The door did not swing or creak, it simply opened like a heavy eye, slowly, silently. For a moment Mira was afraid to look, but curiosity tugged at her like a little hand. She leaned forward and peered through the doorway. Inside, she saw a girl who looked almost exactly like her, lying in a bed that looked almost exactly like hers. But something was different. The girl in the gray door was staring at a bright screen that shone blue on her face, even though the clock on the wall said it was very late. Her eyes looked tired, but they would not close. Beside her bed, a stack of toys sat untouched, and a book lay half open, forgotten. The room was full of things, yet somehow it felt empty, like a song with no music. Mira watched as the girl tapped and scrolled and tapped again. Stories flashed across the screen, one after another, bright and loud and fast, but none of them seemed to sink into the girl's heart. She laughed sometimes, but the laugh was thin, like paper that could tear at any moment. No one came to tuck her in. No owl brushed its wings against her window. Outside, the stars were still shining, but the girl did not look up to see them. She was busy, always busy, with 1,000 small things that did not last. Mira felt a tightness in her chest, as if she had swallowed a stone. "Owl," she whispered, "is that me?" The owl hovered beside her shoulder, its eyes reflecting the gray light from the door. "It could be," the owl said gently. "This is the story of the child who never has time to listen, because there is always one more thing to watch, one more thing to press, one more thing to hurry toward. She grows taller, yes, and she learns big words and big numbers, but inside she feels small and alone, because she has forgotten how to be still. She hears people speak to her, but their words bounce off the busy noise in her mind. At night, when the house is finally quiet, she feels an ache she cannot. Not with a loud shout, not with a grand promise, but with a small, quiet yes inside her chest. "I want the story with the warm light," she whispered, "the one where I still have time to listen." As soon as she thought it, the golden room inside the doorway seemed to bloom brighter, as if it had heard her and was smiling. The child in the bed turned her face toward Mira, though of course she could not really see her, and for a heartbeat their eyes almost met, like two mirrors catching the same piece of light. Mira felt a sudden rush of love for this almost her, This child who still believed that bedtime could be a doorway instead of a wall. She did not want that child to disappear into the gray room with the cold glow and the lonely laugh. She did not want herself to either. "Owl," she said, her voice steady now, "I choose this story. I choose the one where I remember to listen, even when the world is noisy." The owl flapped its wings just once, sending a soft breeze over Mira's cheeks, like the brush of a parent's hand. Then the golden door closed, not with a slam, but with a gentle click, the way you might close a music box after winding it. The stars around the clearing seemed to lean in closer, as if they, too, wanted to see what Mira would do with the story she had chosen. "It will not always be easy," the owl said quietly, gliding back to Mira's side. "There will be days when the fast, bright things call you loudly, and the slow, gentle things whisper so softly you almost cannot hear them. There will be nights when you feel too big for stories and too small for sleep, and you will want to skip the quiet part in between. But tonight, you have chosen, and choices are like seeds. They do not look like much at first, yet they can grow into forests if you keep watering them." Mira nodded, even though the idea of a forest growing from something as small as a yes still felt almost too big to hold. She suddenly missed her pillow, and her blanket, and the way her room